So yeah, well, after that introduction, I'm going to give you a little bit more background, and I'm going to start showing you actually what we do. So we are two initial founders, two lifelong friends, and we both love paper and video games. Paper in the form of paper books, actually, real books, and also board games, which we think is paper, and video games because we grew with both. And we both spent about 20 years working on the screen for video games, for myself and for Etienne, my partner, on interactive design on the screen. And we love it, but we love the interactivity, we love the gameplay, but we miss something. We miss the physicality of the book, we miss the social direct interaction that you get with the board games, and we felt we have to bring these two together. So we came out with this idea of creating paper video games, and then we started exploring what it actually meant. And I'm going to show you some of the phases and the prototypes that we've gone through and how that brought us to the mobiles, actually. And we'll see that at the end. So basically, that's the first prototype books that we created. And it's called The Book That Wanted to Be a Video Game. And we built a book with lots of sensors and electronics and the things that you usually don't see in a paper book. And we tried to have every chapter being kind of a vintage video game or game, actually. And the first one, we used something, I think in English it's called Simon Says. Oh, sorry. Maybe I should put the sound because it's not Simon Says without the sound. So you have a little sound sequence, and then you want to mimic back with all the sensors that know which page you're at, and etc. So we were very happy with our first prototype because we actually had a book that was a video game, except it worked much better when you put it in the freezer. So we thought that was a bit limiting. So we really tried a lot of different ideas just for the sake of it. So we also thought that we could take some of the principles, the ideas of video games, and put it into pure books with no digital aspect. And we thought that the matter of the book, the paper, or the ink, or whatever you had to the physical books, could have game-like properties. So in the books that disappear, basically you have a story, and you have 20 minutes to read it. And the book disappears within these 20 minutes. At the end, you cannot read the story. So we thought it's not exactly a game, but it's very playful. So that's another of our paper video games. So we're not going to wait 20 minutes because I'm going to be kicked out, so it's goes a bit faster. So basically, the books, it could be a game, it could be cards that you play that you have to finish the game in a limited time because it's going to disappear and you can only play it once. So basically, you read that one just once, and once you open it, that starts the countdown. And so in the end, you get a kind of like a work of art, but it's not readable anymore. You get something else. So that was for the pure paper, and then we decided to try to actually literally do a paper video game. So we used regular paper, the kind of paper you put in the printer, and we used conductive inks and inks that have certain properties, and mixed up with electronics, and we created this duck game, basically, which is very basic, but you have to move a duck, and you have to get a key, and if you get the key, you can open the door and get to the next page. And what's interesting in here is, again, it's that it's purely ink on a homemade silkscreen process, And regular paper, it's by no means e-paper. So that was fun as a concept. That's definitely a paper video game, but of course we wanted to push that a bit further than that. It's a bit too literal. So we also had the idea that you can have the game within one page, which is what we had before, or you can have the games across pages. And we developed a book with specific technologies that turns its own pages, not to get to the next page, but more in the fashion of make your own adventure. So you make choices in the book, and that brings you to the next step, 3 pages later or 2 pages before. So basically, the book turns by itself. Well, we get the idea. The thing is that we thought, okay, that's pretty cool, but we're not going to actually put computers or chip in paper in mass production, because that's an interesting concept. But we all more or less have a computer with us, and that's the smartphone that we have. So I can show everything here, but we have we've worked with the iPhone interacting with books, and then we decided that we'd apply that also to a board game. So we developed this game where the pawn itself is your iPhone, and you've got a paper board, and it's a pirate game. So basically, the iPhone is showing the boat, and whatever happens around your boat in the game. So it's some sort of augmented reality in a way, but it's not, because you're not looking at a screen that's distracting you from the physicality of the board. You're actually looking at the board, and that's where everything is happening. And we really like the idea, and we didn't use the camera or anything. We tried to make it very simple and the experience very direct. You can also have two iPhones together, and the boats start interacting with each other, fighting, etc. So then we stay in the same line of ideas, and we thought, what about if the board becomes the iPhone becomes the board, and we put paper, we put pounds or figures on top of the iPhone or the iPad. And so we made a very basic demo with little figures that get recognized by the iPhone, and we developed technology to actually to get them identified and also localized, and you even know the orientation that they have. And that was a very early prototype. And when we built up the technology, we developed around that, and we have now a more interesting looking game that's in progress, where you see the board actually, which is now the iPad, totally changing as you move out your pawns, and of course the direction in which they are set, the position in which they are set, all of that counts a lot. It's totally changing. It's still a board game, but it's totally changing the rules and blurring the lines between the video game, the board game, whatever. I think it's really creating a new category. Then we try also, well, the pawns or the figures are kind of paperish to us, but we decided that we'll go really back to paper, and we tried with cards, which are actually paper. And using the same technology and pushing it a bit further, we develop kind of like a Rorschach test, which is showing, I think what's really interesting here, well, you see it visually, but to give behavior to the cards on the screen, interactive behavior that matches their personality. So it's the white against the black cards, and they have dots or symbols that visually expand when you put them on the screen. And every time you do a different sequence, you get a different interactivity and different visuals. So we think, thank you very much, and we think this is creating a new category, basically, for the games, and this hybrid match of old technology that bring people together and new technology that bring the connectivity, the gameplay, the interactivity. Thank you very much.